What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be bringing you two interesting Mermail decks from YCS Miami by Jeff Jones and Billy Brake. Of course, Billy Brake did get third place with this deck, so there is some sort of viability to this build, and I do find it very interesting, and I am going to try it out because there's a lot of things that well, not a lot of things. Main thing is Mermail Abyssteus. I really want to try him out. Kind of scared because I didn't really want to stray from the Undine engine, but that's besides the point. Let's talk about the decks. The reason I decided to do one video on this instead of two is because they're actually really, really similar in build. And if you read, I believe it was Jeff Jones's article on alterrealitygames.com, I believe he did say that this build was a collaborative effort by him and Billy, which would make sense as they're almost identical, apart from a couple of tech choices. But anyways, let's get on to the deck. We'll start with Billy Brake. He's running one copy of Abyssleed, triple Megalo, triple Abyssteus, triple Pike, triple Linde, double Gund, triple Dragoons, triple Marksman, one copy of Infantry, triple Deep Sea Diva, no Glacia, 3 MST, 1 Avarice, 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Heavy Storm, triple Abyss Sphere, double Abyss-Squall, 1 Safe Zone, 1 Compulse, and 1 Solemn Judgment. Alright, this is, as you can see right off the bat, this is very, very different from your standard Genex Undine engine build, which of course revolves around normal summoning Genex Undine, usually sending a Dragoons to the grave, adding the controller to the hand, and adding the Dragoons to the hand. Now, the elimination of the Undine engine also means the elimination of Glacia, which I very, 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 very highly agree with, because without Undine in the deck, you can't really send Dragoons to the grave as consistently early game as you could with the Undine engine in the deck. And if you've played the deck, you would know that Glacia is usually dropped down early game to early mid game. After that, really, your graveyard gets too full to facilitate the use of Glacia. And without the Undine engine, you really just can't. You can't really add Glacia to the hand early game as consistently as you could with the engine. So I do agree with him cutting out Glacia. It was a smart move. Anyways, the one copy of Lead and Triple Megalo, that's very reminiscent of my own personal build. If you go to my videos and check out my Mermail deck profile, I am running the Genex Undine engine, but I am also running the Triple Megalo and a single copy of Lead in my build, and I'll explain why this works later in the video, because it's apparent that Billy Brake and Jeff Jones had the same idea I did when I threw in Lead and kept 3 copies of Megalo in the deck. The 3 copies of Mermail Abyssteus, that's very interesting. I honestly haven't tried it out in real life yet in my deck, so sorry. So I can't really comment on how consistent it would make the deck. But from what I see here, adding the Abyssteus to the deck would give you just complete access to all your Mermails, apart from Megalo and Lead, and Abyssteus, obviously. But having the Abyssteus in the deck gives you complete access to Gund, Linde, and Pike. And Linde is obviously a huge power card. Pike lets you search out your Gund, Linde, and Marksman, so you still have the consistency with Pike. But the one thing I found with the Undine engine was I always found myself forcing myself to search for that Undine, because with the Undine engine, you kind of have a timer. It's either I can summon this monster this turn and try to go for a play, or I can summon the Undine and get rid of that controller out of my deck. Because with the controller in the deck, you basically, if you draw into that controller, that's a dead draw, and really, like, that can cost you games. So I really want to try this build out, because I really want to try to stray away from the Undine engine. Although it is a very, very powerful and consistent engine, it does open up the possibility that you will draw controllers. And let me tell you, opening with two controllers in the hand is like, wow, good game. Like just unless your opponent opens bad as well, like it's like fuck. What am I supposed to do in this situation? Okay, next up we have the triple pike. It's justified bumping it up to 3 without the Undine engine because you still have he did splash in the 2 goons as targets, and he did bump up his marksman count to 3 because most players were cutting it down to 2 at one point. Triple Linde is obvious because you have your mermail count is much higher than the Undine engine build. Double Goond, I hate to say it, everyone who if you're in my locals and you're watching this, I hate to say it, but I told you so because I was the first one to run Goond. Then a couple of weeks later, saw a couple of other Mermail players at my locals started running Goond because, like I told them, it's way too damn fucking broken. And guess what? Billy Break just topped with Goond. So, oh yeah, relating back to why the one copy of Lead along with the triple Megalo still works, although it may seem like overkill and dead draws all around, Goond. So what Goond does is when you discard her for anything, it doesn't have to be a card effect. So that's why okay, when I introduced Goond to my locals, basically what they said was it's not going to work because you're going to get the same ruling as Dark World. Then I said, well, no, it just says discard, not by a card effect. It just says discard, so you can pitch it for cost, pitch it for anything, and you get the free. It's pretty much a themed Monster Reborn for mermails. So that means if you do draw into the Megalos and Leads and you get a shitty hand with a bunch of high-level mermail monsters, you don't have to be afraid of pitching those cards, those high-level power cards, because you know that in your deck you have a very searchable Monster Reborn that can be activated for the pitching of anything. So a very good play is just to get the Monster Reborn. Like Abysssteus opens up is a discard outlet for Abyssgunde, and along with Megalo and Lead. And fun fact: if you pitch, let's say I have Gund, Megalo, and Lead in my hand. If I reveal Megalo, pitch Gund and Lead, Gund's effect goes off in the graveyard, and I can summon the Lead from my graveyard because how it works is I believe Megalo is always the first to resolve in the chain, so his summon goes off, and you have to pay the cost. Then Abyss Gund goes off, and by that timing, the Gund and Lead are already in the grave. So when Gund's effect goes off, Lead is already in the graveyard to be a valid target. Therefore, you can special summon it via Abyss Gund's effect. Lots of fun plays all around, and I really want to try this deck out because the plays look a lot more flexible than compared to the Undine engine build. Next, we have the triple Dragoons and triple Marksman, just standard stuff. I do agree with the with bumping Marksman up to 3 because sorry, I do agree with bumping Marksman up to 3 and cutting down infantry to 1 because you don't really need to pop face-up monster cards anymore with the infantry because we do have a giant beater known as Abyssleed now, and this build does go into rank 7s really easily, so if there is a problem monster on the field, you can either go into Abyssgaios or a Big Eye to take care of it. Next, we have the one copy of Infantry. We only need one now due to the reason why I explained before. And triple Diva, because Diva's still insane. You still have the Marksman and Infantry as targets, and I do agree with Diva at 3 because double Diva plays are ridiculous. Triple Typhoon because this build is even more OTK-ish than the previous build, surprisingly. This build looks a lot faster. One Avarice, standard. One Reborn, one Dark Hole, blah, blah, blah. Triple Abyss Sphere because we have, like, if you weren't running 3 before, which I don't understand, you should be running 3 in this build now because you have many more mermails to target. Double Abyss-Squall. This is interesting. I do like it's very good in the fact that it can summon any mermail regardless of level. So it's just really, really easy Abyssgaios and Big Eye plays. And I've yet to try it out, but it seems like it would be a very solid addition to the deck because your mermail count is a lot higher than in the Undine engine variant. One copy of Safe Zone. I believe this was a complete personal tech choice made by Billy Brake. I believe he said in his interview that he chose Safe Zone because if you have a Safe Zone on your Abyssgaios, man, like it's so hard to get rid of that thing because it's a 2800 beater that negates effects And level 5, and while it's on the field, level 5 or higher monsters cannot attack. And with the safe zone up, they have to get rid of the safe zone first. It's disgusting what an Abyss behind a safe zone is disgusting. One copy of Compulsory Evacuation Device, and one copy of Solemn Judgment. It just seems like these two cards are splashed in, but they're very, very solid splashing choices because the meta, like we all know, Compulse is very strong in the meta right now, and Solemn's just a very, very strong power card that stops anything. So there's really nothing bad you can say about those two tech choices. They're completely personal and up to him. And if it works with his playstyle, then so be it. For his extra deck, he's running one Gachi Gachi, one Leviathan Dragon, one Zenmains, one Abyss Dweller, two Abyss Gaios, two Big Eye, one Armory Arm, one Catastor, Hyper Librarian, Duloran, Gungnir, Scrap Dragon, and Stardust. I'm not sure about the double copies of Big Eye and Abyss Gaios because really, like once you get maybe a Big Eye. I can understand a double copy of Big Eye, but once you really get Abyss Gaios on the field, you should be pushing for game anyway. So I don't really see a reason for two. I'd probably cut one out and just put a Mistworm in because just for added utility. But hey, it worked for him. He got third place. So I'm not gonna nitpick his extra deck choices too much because clearly whatever he did worked out well. But if I were in his position, that's just what I would do because I really can't see myself putting big Abyss Gaios on the field twice during the same duel. It'd just be overkill. Next up, we're just going to quickly go over Jeff Jones's build, which is almost identical apart from the tech choices. He's got one Abyssleed, triple Megalo, triple Linde, triple Pike, triple Abyssteus, double Goond, triple Dragoons, triple Marksman, one copy of Heavy Infantry, triple Diva, triple MST, double Lance, Monster Reborn, Dark Hole Heavy Storm, Mind Control, triple Abyss Fear, triple Abyss-Squall, and one Solemn. Yeah, I'm not going to go over this too much because really the only differences between their decks are the tech choices. Instead of the Safe Zone and Compulse, Jeff Jones decided to run the double Lance, which is a completely viable tech choice with Fire Fists going around. And yeah, if you can stop the bear or gorilla from getting their effects off and setting the Tenki, why not? And Lance does that, and of course, Lance is a very good card in the fact that the spell and trap immunity. So yeah, really nothing to say about the Lances here. It's a very solid card all around. Very good. It's still going to be very good this format. In fact, I see it being even better this format because of Dino Rabbit's still around, and we have a fuck ton of new Fire Fist decks going around trying to kill everybody. So shrinking their monsters and denying their effects to search for the Fire Formation cards is a very strong play. Anyways, I just wanted to bring that to you. These are two very, very interesting Mermail builds. I believe they called them new. I believe they were coined. Sorry, I believe these decks were coined in New Age Mermails. I prefer to call them pure Mermails, pure males, if you will. But anyways, that's just a nomenclature issue, and it shouldn't be that big of a deal anyways. Yep, thanks for watching. Don't forget to rate, like, subscribe, and comment the video, and I will see you all next time. Take it easy.